This is your communication podcast with Teresa. Alright guys, last one for today. We are looking at attitudes, consonance and dissonance, and we are still embedded in human emotions because remember, we want to appeal to human emotions when we are in the business of persuading people. Attitudes are actually quite easy to understand. The problem is that you're using the word in the wrong way in your everyday life. You say that people have an attitude. Well, that's actually incorrect to say because you must actually distinguish between a positive and a negative attitude or a strong and a weak attitude. So it's not just saying that somebody has an attitude. It's not descriptive to say something like that. An attitude is an inclination towards something in the world. So for example, I have strongly negative attitudes toward the death penalty, or I have a strongly positive attitudes toward golf. Can you see? You have to clarify what the strength of your attitude is and what the inclination is in terms of negativity or positivity. As we've already found out in our first unit, persuasion gears toward attitude change as well as behavioral change, and that sometimes we're sitting in a position where we are changing people's attitudes but not so much their behavior, or vice versa. The best case scenario for advertisers is of course to get both changes done. As you can see on my slide, an attitude usually forms a behavioral intention. So coming back to what I said, I have strongly positive attitudes toward golf. Therefore, my behavior will mirror my attitudes in that I go practice, in that I go play. My husband's laughing in the background because he knows I'm not practicing. But you can see how attitudes actually drive us to behave in a certain way. Okay, summing up, an attitude is a tendency to respond in a given way to a subject or topic in the world. The tricky part comes in when we are talking about consistency or consonance, and of course the opposite, dissonance. This is a wonderful word to drop during a dinner party and everybody will look at you and think you're super clever, so please don't forget it right away. What is it with consonance and dissonance? The idea is that in our lives, we seek consonance. Another word for that is balance. Another word for that is predictability. Another word for that is consistency. We love consistency. We love to know what's coming up next. And we hate dissonance. That's that niggly feeling inside of you that something isn't quite right. Think of a scenario when you think one way but your best friend thinks another way. Or think of a scenario of you watching a news item on two different channels and these two different channels say two different things. It gives you this imbalance. It gives you this feeling of, what now? I don't know what's happening. It's an uncomfortable feeling. And dissonance describes exactly that. Advertisers, of course, know that you always seek consonance, as in balance, and that you avoid dissonance. You don't want to feel weird. You don't want to feel the odd one out. You don't want to feel that something is clashing in your mind. And they're exploiting this need for consistency, and they are confronting you either with certain inconsistencies in your lives that they will make better, or they say that the product that they're offering will make sure that you remain in a state of consonance. So what throws us off balance? There are 5 different things that are listed here on the slide. The loss of group prestige, economic loss, the loss of personal prestige, uncertainty of prediction, and sense of guilt. Nothing throws you off course like a bad conscience, and this is where the sense of guilt comes in. People with a bad conscience do a lot of things or are persuaded to do a lot of things. For example, if a partner has stepped out of a relationship with a third party, they have a bad conscience and therefore they will maybe buy a diamond ring or buy flowers. So a sense of guilt persuades us to do a lot because it throws us off our balance. Also, uncertainty of prediction. Think about all the advertisers for insurances. They are riding on this need for consistency in terms of prediction. We want to know that if we lose our jobs or if we have a dread disease or any kind of other eventuality, that we are covered. Okay, so if we cannot predict the future, that throws us off course or off balance. Therefore, it creates dissonance, and we are trying to buy a product that gets us back into a state of consonance. Loss of personal prestige is also a biggie. It kind of comes back to your ego. It kind of comes back to your esteem needs. Nobody wants to feel a social outcast, or nobody wants to feel that people are thinking of them negatively. And in order to keep our personal prestige, we are persuaded to do quite a few things. Economic loss, of course, a huge source of dissonance, huge source of inconsistency, not knowing where your next meal comes from, not knowing if you get a job, not knowing if you're getting paid during COVID. So all of these things throw us off balance completely. And then lastly, the loss of group prestige is also a source of dissonance. Just imagine you are in a group and your entire group seems to lose status or seems to lose its reputation. It's not a very nice feeling to have. So remember, people seek consistency and consonance, and if they feel there is a source of dissonance or inconsistency, they try everything to bring back the state of balance. So as I mentioned, advertisers like to use two strategies. Either they throw you off balance and then offer you a product that will reinstate the balance, or they just say that the product will keep you consistent or will keep you in balance. And the sources of consonance that are used by advertisers are the reassurance of security, the demonstration of predictability, and the use of rewards. I think the first two are pretty straightforward. The use of rewards, however, is a little bit of a new one, and it basically just helps to keep you on the persuader side, okay? Somebody who gives you perks or pays you off or gives you gifts, of course, you will be more aligned with that person, and you wouldn't be inclined to feel a source of dissonance with that person, okay? Because they have treated you nicely. Here we go. I hope you understand the three concepts of attitudes, consonance, and dissonance because they don't just come up in the remainder of your coursework, but also in your life. So it would be good for you to actually be on top of these concepts and be able to offer a little bit of content on them. I hope you enjoyed it, Schnookies. Until next time, bye!